Hello, everybody. Welcome to our webinar this month. Just to give everyone a little heads up, we're having some network issues in our office, so we're working on getting that fixed, and then in about 5, 6 minutes, we'll get the meeting started. In the meantime, I'm happy to answer anyone's general questions, anything like that they may have. I'm not sure if everyone knows, but we just released 2 new products to our DoorBird lineup. So we have a D31, very similar to our other multi-tenant unit, our D21 DKV. This new unit actually has a touchscreen display, and it's also capable of doing QR codes for QR coded entry for all guests. So that's really cool, and we'll talk about that a little bit more when we get started as well. We have a couple more people on now, so just to give everyone who's just entered a little heads up, we're having a little bit of network connectivity issues going on in our office right now. We're working on getting that resolved super fast, so in the next couple of minutes, we should be able to get started. If anyone has any questions or anything like that while we wait, feel free to shoot them over or put them in the chat, and I'd be happy to answer them. Sorry about this, everyone. I think they are almost ready here. See, I have a couple things in the Q&A. The new door station, we finally got some parts in, so that's exciting. So they're working on producing those units now, and they should start shipping within the next week. So if anyone has those on pre-order, those will be the ones that go out first, followed by any units that are ordered after that. So if you're looking to get one of those, definitely get your orders in. And just for everyone's knowledge as well, we offer 50% off of demo units. So anyone who's looking to just get the unit in hand, play around with it a little bit, maybe set it up in their office, see what all it can do. We do offer those to 50% off all of our partners. And then your account manager can actually go through the setup with you if you have questions. We also just launched our new mini dome camera. This is a product that we've been working on for a while. We've had a lot of requests for people asking for additional camera points so they could see, if someone comes up to the door and there's a blockage to the camera, or if, they'd want to see the car maybe that parked outside of the door. We now have that, so that's really cool. It integrates into the app, and then when you open it up, you can toggle back and forth between the door station video and the dome camera video. So you have 2 views of who's there. And that is launched, and I believe that is shipping. So that's shipping upon orders right now.
Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing today?
Hey,
Everybody,
John.
everybody good. Very, very sorry for the delay in getting started here today. We were having some network issues here at the office, which kind of threw a little wrench in everything last minute. But my name's John Lucy. I'm one of the regional sales managers here at DoorBird. Anna, you guys have been talking to Anna here already this morning. She's coordinating all of our inside sales efforts and basically holds our office down, keeps us all organized, that kind of good stuff. Today, the subject at hand is DoorBird and basics of setup and basics of admin settings and a little bit of that and a little bit of this. So I don't know how well you guys can see via this camera, but we have some new products. I think Anna was already talking about our new D31 that just was released. This very large intercom that you see over here is a new custom build that DoorBird has started building where we can integrate third-party readers directly into our intercoms. It's a really, really cool new product. We our factory custom designed a new integration box for DoorBird and the readers. And it's really cool because it's actually a spring-loaded box and it comes just like this. As you can see, it has a practically bulletproof piece of glass on the top end, but it's a spring-loaded. It'll actually push the reader up against the glass. We designed this because, as you guys know, we have a really awesome integration with Essentra, and we found that a lot of people were wanting to incorporate, readers and not have multiple pieces to install. Cuts back on labor, all that good stuff. So let's get into it. What I
John,
am
before
log.
we
Yeah,
get
yeah.
started, I just want to let everyone know I'm
Hmm.
here to answer any questions y'all have. Obviously, since it's a webinar, everyone's mic is kind of off. So just feel free to pop in on the Q&A or the chat section. I'll get those questions answered for you while we're kind of going through, so no one loses thought of what they want to ask by the time we get to the end of the meeting. Thanks,
Beautiful.
John.
Yeah, thanks, Anna. So guys, what I'm going to do here, I am going to show you in 1 second. I'm going to share my screen with you guys and get this pulled up here. All right. All right, we're going to go over here to doorbird.com. Does everybody see our website here on the screen? Anna, can you confirm? All right, great. So what I'm going to do, when you receive a DoorBird, let's say you ordered your first DoorBird ever, and that DoorBird comes in a beautiful white box. You're going to get a pack of materials that comes in a big baggie like this, um, and that packet is incredibly important because you have a piece of paper in there that we refer to as our quick start guide, our digital passport. And let me see if I can show you guys a quick copy of that. I believe I have a copy open somewhere along the way. If not, I can open one real quick. Da, 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 da. And I think it's in my other folder. Maybe not. All right. So basically, it's going to be a quick start guide. You're going to have a QR code for an admin setting as well as a user setting. Okay. So the very first thing you want to do is save a digital copy of the passport when you're commissioning a new DoorBird system, because I guarantee you your end client will come back to you later when somebody moved out of a house or a property manager switched out and they had to get a new person in that chair, and they're not going to know where to begin with DoorBird. Your quick start guide and these digital passports are your key to the castle, as they would say. This is what's going to get you access into not only being a user of the system and the intercom, but also being an administrator and being able to switch out users and change PIN codes and deny access and give access. So it's incredibly important that you guys, keep a digital copy of that. Real easy though. I'm going to show you guys how to, you know, get going with the DoorBird. As you all well know, you're in the professional space, so all DoorBirds are PoE devices. So some of the things you're going to need, in addition to what DoorBird ships you in the mail, you're going to need either a PoE switch. You know, if you have multiple devices or multiple DoorBirds, which I have a switch down here. It's an 8-port switch. DoorBird also sells a really awesome PoE Plus injector that we released here. This I think it was about 3 months ago. We upgraded our PoE injector, so that can be found under our accessories page on our products page. Yeah, they're all PoE devices. We only sell one series, the D1100, that you know that is a Wi-Fi enabled device. However, we always recommend that you run it via PoE coming out of a like I said, a PoE switcher or a PoE injector. So super simple setup. That gives you the power, that gives you the data. For all intents and purposes today, I'm going to be using this bronze D21 DKV as my kind of demo model to show you guys some ins and outs on the admin settings. I have all these turned on right now. However, I'm not going to try to switch back and forth on them. All right, great. So how we get started? First thing we're going to do, and I'm going to kind of act as if I am in the shop on the bench. I'm going to be setting this up prior to going out on the job site. By the way, you can also set your DoorBird up by using our app and our administrative settings. Pretty much identical in the way it functions. But if you don't know DoorBird and you're new to DoorBird, you're going to go in here to your support tab on our website. And right here where it says web admin on the left-hand side, you're going to click onto this. All right. Now, using your digital passport, you're going to have an administrative section on the right-hand side. You're going to have a user section on the left-hand side. So what you're going to do is you're going to use that user credential admin. So let me plug this in here real quick. GHKSD, excuse me, I can't see anymore. B0000. And down here, we're going to go with our password. By the way, guys, these passwords, a lot of people ask me, can I just change it to a familiar password or, you know, a password that I know I'm going to remember easily? DoorBird restricts that. We're very strict with our security and our back end. So, you know, you only have one option, and that's use our password, unfortunately. And RK, and that's Ramon running in and out. He's still helping me pull together some last minute stuff, but I was too excited to start, so had to get it going early. Here we go. Hopefully I read this right. And as you can see, it's just going to take a minute to find the DoorBird through the cloud. All right. So this is what our administrative database, our administrative tool looks like online. Personally, I think it's a lot easier to use the administrative database than using the app and in the field. You know, you have end users and customers breathing down your neck, you know, asking you what you're doing. Really easy to do this. One of the things you want to make sure of when you're setting up the DoorBird for the first time is that you're on your device or your computer and everything is on the same network for the very first time. After the DoorBird is set up, you can, you know, remotely manage the DoorBird, the users, the PIN codes, everything from anywhere. You can simply log on to any network and manage it as long as you have the credentials as an administrator. All right, so first things first, this is your overview. This is going to give you a kind of a snapshot of everything when it comes to the DoorBird itself. It's going to give us the users, how many users we currently have in there. It's going to have how many RFID transponders we have registered to users. It's going to tell us how many peripheral devices we have connected. What's a peripheral device? A peripheral device could be an indoor station. It could be our indoor chime, our standalone chime. Most commonly, it's going to be an indoor station. It makes a happy customer when they have one. So first things first, you're going to kind of just go in order here from top to bottom. I'm going to go to users first. And here's where we go to enter a new user. We're going to go up here, press this plus button here. All right, great. So I'm in here now. Here I can name my users. Let's say I wanted to name this user Anna Carly, and I'm going to go down here and assign this pin. And now is this section over here is where I can give Anna rights. I can give her the right to watch the camera always. I can give her the right to motion control and setting motion limits. I can give the right to turn geofencing on and off. This right here is where you probably never want to check on API operator because that's like giving them the keys to the castle. They can really go in there. Users could really go in there and screw up all of your programming. And then of course you're going to give you're either going to give them rights to relays or restrict rights to relays. That can be very useful when you have multifamily type properties. You may have a a double door scenario, or an elevator that that second relay is triggering that elevator door to open through relay control. You may want to deny access to some people while giving access to others. So I'm just going to save this. By the way, all these key codes are typically going to say 000 until we go down here and we change them on the keypad settings. All right, so this is where I am distributing the credentials to my users. In this case, I want to send this to Anna, but I also like to keep a copy via PDF. What I'll typically do here is I'll go here, I'll download the PDF. So this is what essentially your users would get from you as an attachment once you email. You can email directly from the admin section. However, I find it useful to keep a copy of this just in case a specific user calls you back. You can keep a file of it. All right, great. So that's really how they register. You can see they have their own unique username. They have a super long encrypted password. Again, we're all about security and data security here at DoorBird. All right, so we're just going to close that out. So now, as you can see, I can go back here and I can rename these. So let's say you have a multifamily building and you want to, not necessarily delete a user altogether, but you wanted to update that credential to somebody else. You can simply go back into these users and you can change names, kind of how they're going to show in the directory. All right, so I'm about to move on from the user section. Any questions for Anna or questions for myself that I can help address with that?
We did have one question. Are you able to change the admin name? You are not. It is fixed to that username. As you saw when you add users, you can give them a nickname, but for the admin, that is the username you will have.
Correct. Thanks, Anna. All right, guys, so moving down, we are going to go to our cloud recording. So this is where, we have a one time a year plan that if you have a very discerning customer and they may be very on high alert when it comes to their security or their home security, we do offer a cloud recording plan. It's very affordable. I want to say it's in the tune of $60 to $70 per month. And that will give them 7 days worth of 24/7 video. That's going to be housed on our servers. And they will also be able to access that video via their DoorBird app on their device. So, pretty affordable plan. And, you don't always have to sell that on the front end, but you should at least mention it because they may want to go back after the install and after everything's done and sign up for it online themselves. All right, moving along. This is for motion detection. This is where we're going to set either turn on or turn off motion detection. You got your options up here. I can have that motion detection do a couple of different actions. I can have it send a push notification to let me know, hey, somebody is within 10 meters of my gate or my entryway. Keep in mind, whenever we turn on motion detection, that does, in many cases, count towards your DoorBird history within the app. I always like to talk about that because motion detection can sometimes be it can eat up that free cloud plan that we have. It can eat up the 50 most recent events or button pushes on the intercom by having that on. And if it's actually configured to very max distances, it can, you'll get a lot more critters running by your intercom at nighttime than you will be actually able to see faces who are ringing the bell at your intercom. So yeah, pretty basic there. Peripherals. As you can see, I have an indoor station. That's why Ramon's been kind of running back and forth in here. This is where once this this indoor station comes up, it's just about to come online here. So when you get your indoor station and you unbox it, you're going to see a QR code in this as well. We always have a passport in really every device that's either a peripheral device or an intercom. This one's only going to come with one because as an administrator, all I have to do is I have to add the peripheral. It's going to automatically find it online. Let my coworker in there. It's going to automatically find the peripheral online. If it doesn't, you can go in here and you can select IO indoor station, and I can put in my username and my password that comes on this QR code. It's right here on the left-hand side. That's going to be GHJWUS0000. Right. And I'm going to hit continue. Nice thing is, guys, you don't have to typically re-enter your new password. It's going to automatically populate in some cases. Let's try this one more time. I stand corrected. I'm not really sure why that old password was in there. There we go. ML M T6. All right. Typo. There it is. And it just takes a minute to find it in the cloud. In this case, I'm not going to save that password. So here's where you can name your indoor station. I'm just going to put primary in primary station kitchen. By the way, guys, our indoor stations, they're an incredible product. Very large custom homes. You may have an 8,000 or a 10,000 square foot home. You can actually put multiple indoor stations within the property on different floors. The beautiful thing about our indoor stations is they could even be on a totally different network than our, the intercom. Let's say you're in a multifamily complex, you have 50 apartments. You could put 50 of these indoor stations in all of the units, and they could live on those homeowners, individual networks just fine. It's a Wi-Fi device, so it doesn't even have to be hardwired. And it does come with a power supply to be able to plug it into any old outlet. You'll be able to see a power supply when it comes in the box, and you're going to get a nice, beautiful power supply like this. And because DoorBird does business in so many countries, you'll have all the different adapters depending on what country you're living in. So really cool. I'm just going to put primary. I'm going to put my email, or you could put the homeowner's email, if you're setting this up for them. DoorBird.com. And now I can grant relay and input permissions to all existing users, or I can say grant relay and input permissions individually to each user. So in this case, I'm just going to hit all users because, I'm looking at this as a residential job today. And let's say I'm going to list this as Anna Carley's indoor station or John Lucy, whatever have you. We're going to hit the pin code. There we go. And this is going to be connecting our indoor station to our beautiful bronze DoorBird that we have over here. Any questions on the indoor stations, guys? As you can see, it's coming up over here right now. See if I can move this up a little bit for you guys. There we go. All right. So now that we're connected with our indoor station, we should be good to go on the settings here. One other thing about the indoor station that I didn't mention that I would be remiss to forget is that these indoor stations in very large, corporate settings or, even large residential jobs where they have multiple indoor stations, these can be used and configured, through our different settings. And you can set them up actually for room to room, voice intercoms. So pretty nice feature when you're in a 10,000 square foot house and you're trying to get the kids out the door in the morning. You can use this to squawk at them if they're on a different floor, fooling around upstairs. So yeah, as I mentioned earlier, guys, this is where you would put all peripherals in. If you saw this drop down box, the 3 peripheral devices that DoorBird makes, we make our indoor station. We have a DoorBird IP IO door controller, which is essentially a way to add additional relays into a job that are connected through the cloud to the intercom. Really awesome feature. I didn't have time to grab one, and we have a lot of guys out with a lot of our equipment this week, but this is your solution for adding additional relays. It also, because it talks through the cloud to the intercom and it's a peripheral device, it also can add added security on jobs because it gives you the ability really to be able to configure the relays on the IO door controller to be able to talk to the intercom that's out there at the gate or the entryway. Now your relays are tucked away in a rack inside the house by the switch or by the router or the data closet. Added security, for the very discerning customers that you guys deal with. And then we just have our standard IP door chime, over 50 different ringtones. If somebody just wants an IP doorbell, really an IP chime. So really great offerings there. All right, cool. So I'm gonna close out of this, and now we're gonna go down to the display. This is where you can do some customization on your unit's display. This is the D21 DKV model that we're using today, and now I can go in here and I can set it up. And I want to say it's English, and I want to put the codes in the directory. Let me just move my window here a little bit, and now I can go in and I can say this is John's lobby in John's lobby, Jacksonville. All right, and I have one more line now I can put in there. Let's just say, welcome to DoorBird. And I'm going to save it. When I hit save here, you're going to see, boom, it populates to my screen. You can do custom messaging on this. You can update it. If you wanted to put something about a barbecue on the third or what have you in the courtyard. You're in a multifamily complex. You could almost use it as a little bulletin board, public announcement board per se. Our new D31 that we just launched actually has even quite more customization options to it. Unfortunately, our guys out in the field have those with them this week. We have some big meetings, around the U.S. this week. So I'm going to save that. That's the basic setup. All right, so moving on here, I'm going to go to my keypad settings. So this is where you can go and just do the basic scheduling of pin codes, assigning pin codes, and so on. So first thing I'm going to do is I want to say, do I want my keypad to be illuminated all the time, as far as the backlit keypad that DoorBird has built in. Do I want it to be automatic, or do I want it to turn the lights off altogether? That's the first choice. I'm going to have a default for the bell sound. I can turn on and off the button sound. And down here is where I can adjust pin codes. So let's say that 0000, pretty generic. In this case, I'm just going to use 715. And I want, when this code is pushed into my keypad here, I want this to be able to trigger relay 1, because that's what I have running out to the door strike, or the electronic locking mechanism on my door. Now I can go and I can give myself a schedule. You go up here, you can totally block it out. You can open it up. Block it out, open it up. I'm going to put display name line, John L, in name directory. And let's say I wanted to set an action for this pin code to work one time. I want it to work only for, a set amount of time. If I was bringing contractors in and I wanted to give them a code that would only work from, February, let's say I'm going to start them on their work on Monday. I only want to give them 1 week to, finish the job, as they say. You can set specific days on this. All right, let's set it here. And now I can adjust what time I want that to work using our little drag and drop clock right here. So really cool features. I'm going to give them I'm going to give them rights to relay 1. And now I have a schedule set. So this is where you would go in there to choose the action, set the timer schedule, give them the relay rights that you want to give them or have access to. And now you're set it and forget it. Now you don't have to worry about going back in there, removing those credentials. The job was done the last day, and now I can, just live life happily. I don't have to go back in and re-update stuff. So very, 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 very convenient features. One-time code, weekly schedule. This is like if I wanted to say, okay, I'm going to put this, I want this to be able to trigger the relay, this code, and I want it to be 24/7, or I want it to be only from 1 o'clock on Monday to 4 o'clock. Okay. One of the things a lot of people miss is they forget to go down here and save. So make sure you're hitting the save button, or else it will not take whatever schedule you did. You're like, what the heck? I've set this thing up 5 times and it's still not working. Okay, so great. So now I'm off and running again. I'm going to save these features, and kind of that's a walk around, how we do our pin code scheduling. And if we were using key fobs, we would go down here, guys, and into your key fob settings, and it's going to look very, very much alike. So you're always going to get, with all of our intercom products that we ship, you're always going to get one key fob with us. Now we make 2 different types of key fobs. First key fob is the standard 125. Our second key fob is actually a dual frequency key fob for added security. Naturally, there's a lot of guys running around pretty easy. Kids are smart these days, so they can grab an emulator pretty easily off Amazon today for the 125s. So it's always advisable to bulk up and buy the dual frequency one. Be sure to check your cut sheet or your data sheet on the intercom you're buying to make sure that the right key fobs are matched up with the model. Okay, the dual frequency works with all of our D21 series. It works with our D1812 series. It works with our A1121. So really, I usually typically advise the dual frequency. But this is where you would go. And like I said, it's very similar to your pin codes. When you go down here to the key fobs, you're going to go into the settings, and now I can start adding key fobs here. I can add a 125, and when you do that, you're going to do it. You just got to make sure that you're on the same network. I'm going to assign this to John L, and I want this to trigger a relay, and I want it to be 24/7. Save. Name. All right, and I should be able to just hold this up, and it should populate. Not sure what's going on with this fob. Typically, when you're doing this, though, guys, that's where you register it, and typically it would normally populate up here. I just grabbed this last minute, so I'm not sure if it came with a the document in here, but there's also a document in the case that you can find it and plug it in manually. So that's that. All right, so we've gone through display, we've gone through peripherals, we've gone through keypad, we've gone through RFID readers and the transponders. And moving on down. Other settings. All right, so as you know, all DoorBirds have some really cool settings, and we are a SIP-enabled device. DoorBirds are not SIP, natively SIP, where they're natively IP devices. Which is what 5% of people are wanting these days. With the cost factor on having SIP services and POTS lines and everything, it's gotten really kind of out of bounds for most people. But we still find that in some communities it still makes sense. So you are able to enter in all your SIP information here. And we also have some further information down here in our expert settings. Some really cool settings down here. I can restart my device. I can go down here and I can automatically check for firmware updates as long as the DoorBird's online. It'll notify you right there. The firmware is already up to date. Other settings I can pull in here. These are some expert settings. So let's say I wanted to change my ringtone when I hit my button on my intercom. I can go in here and I can update that. Our standard is always the DoorBird. So there you can hear that. This is dial tone, classic. So as you can see, we have quite a few, and we're check us out around the holiday seasons as well. We're always releasing some new, we typically put it out in our marketing communications that we have some, new, button sounds, some new ringtones for our DoorBird equipment. You can go silent on the volume, or you can keep it at standard. I can turn off my IR lighting. As you guys know, all DoorBirds, our camera modules up here have built-in IR, night vision, night lighting. So you can deactivate that if you wish, and you can also set your DoorBird on whatever time zone in this planet you would want to set it on. I can adjust my brightness on my camera. I can adjust contrast on the image sensor in the camera. So that's very helpful. If somebody comes to you and they say, hey, my camera is just not, because of the lighting around it, it's mounted in a weird place. I just wish it was a little bit brighter. You can go in here and tweak this up. We never recommend maxing it out at 100, of course. But 50 is usually optimal. It's usually the perfect spot. If you need to bump it up to 60, what have you, that's fine. Relays. So here's where we have I can name my relays. So this is a pretty big thing to make ease of use for your clients. Let's say I have both relays wired out to, the first one, let's say front gate. And I wanted to put this into default mode, and this one I wanted to put into toggle mode. This is where you can configure party mode. This is where you, or hold open mode, whatever people call it. I've heard it called like 5 different things now. But this is where you're going to do that, and you're going to set the schedule for these actions. All right, so I can go up here. I can say I want it to trigger relay, make a SIP call, do an HTTP command. The great thing about DoorBird and our intercoms, you can set schedules on almost every action. You can set schedules on every access control feature. I like to call it simplified access control, not hardcore access control, but simplified access control. All right, so back to settings. I have schedules for the doorbell. Let's say you have a user that says, I don't want this thing. People are pushing, I have these kids driving by at midnight. They're pushing my call button on my DoorBird at, trying to prank me and keep me awake. I can go in here and I can actually, set times on the push notification schedule. So they can push it all night long. If I have this schedule set to where I'm not getting the push notifications and I don't have to hear the chirp or the ringtone on my phone, then I can disable it and set it whatever time I want to hear that noise. All right. So this is where you would do all that. All right. So this is where you would go in to link to an external NVR. As you can see, we have a great partnership with Control 4. So you have settings in here for Control 4. You can set up your NVR substream here. So this is where you would find. Always check expert settings. If you have any idea on where to find something, that's custom to DoorBird. It's usually going to be in this section of our admin settings. All right. So I think we've gotten through pretty much all of the basics, guys. I don't know if I've hit other settings. Yes, I have. Module ports. So this is where you can see all your modules. And when I say modules, by the way, guys, I probably should have done this at the beginning. I don't have this one connected, but when I mean modules, and I just want to highlight this on how DoorBird builds everything. This is for people that aren't too familiar with DoorBird. What I love about our products is we're just different, right? Because we're built and manufactured in Berlin, Germany. We build all of our products to be field serviceable, and we have a great warranty. I mean, we have top to bottom, we have probably one of the best warranties in the industry, but we also back our products long term. Now, these modules are all separate modules. So vandalism, right, is usually the reason that something happens out there in the field. If that does occur, you guys can contact our tech support, or any of us in sales. We can put you in queue to talk to somebody in tech support and file it, and they can rush you guys out replacement modules. Your tech could probably go out there in about 5 to 10 minutes, swap out the module. We do have the ability now. This is probably newer in the last couple months. We do have the ability now on our directory units, such as our D21 DKV, as well as our D31, our new unit that I with our touch screen. We do have the ability to back up our directories. So if something were to happen to your digital display directory, it got smashed in, or it got electrocuted by a bolt of lightning or something like that, you can it's not like a throwaway. We're not just going to pick this whole intercom and throw it away like we would do with some of our very costly competitors. No, we have the ability to put a new module in there, repopulate the module, and I can put that in notes as well, and how to go about that process. I know if you've been doing DoorBird and you're listening in today, you are probably very, very happy to hear that news. So that's pretty much it from an administrative setting, administrative setting portion today, guys. Anna, do we have any other questions that have popped up along the way?
We do. We've had quite a few, so I'm answering some of them right now.
Okay.
If that's all you have, though, John, we can kind of run through them and answer them together. Sorry to the
Sure.
people I haven't gotten to respond to yet. Let's start with the Q&A. So can you change the admin name? No, you can't. That is actually what is assigned on the digital passport, and that's what will stay. Like I said before, when I answered this, I'm not sure if anyone else has hopped on since then. Um, if you add additional users, you can give them a name, i.e., Anna Carly or whoever else, but the admin name will stay the same. Um, Hopping over to our chat, we've had a lot of good questions in here today, so thank you all. Um, are all the passwords assigned through DoorBird? So yes, the passwords are assigned through your digital passport. After you do the setup, you can create more customized passwords if you wanted to. So I gave you an example in there, but that is able to be changed. That's a more recent thing that's come out, so that's pretty exciting. With the indoor stations on different networks, how are they connected? Wi-Fi directly over external WAN cloud. So they're connected through the cloud. So they'll connect to the DoorBird via the cloud. Following up on that question, we got one that said, if the indoor stations would connect on the internal network if possible and not through the cloud, if the internet is down, the indoor stations can still work on the same network. So yes,
It
as
can
long as
work.
the
Yep, it
yeah,
can work on the LAN.
as long as the indoor station is on the same local network as the DoorBird, if the internet goes out, it'll still be able to connect to the DoorBird due to the server. So you're good there. Scrolling back up here. Okay, John, when you were doing the schedules in there, everyone saw
Mhm.
how there is multiple squares, and sometimes when you highlight them, they go to a dark blue, and then some are white. So we
Mhm.
had one question, are the dark squares the functioning time and the white areas the non-functional? So yes, if the square is filled in, that means there's a scheduled action at that time, and if the square is not filled in, it means that it will not work for that time. So if you highlight, the first row all blue, that means that schedule will work for that time. Does that make sense? If anyone needs additional explaining on that, just pop back in the chat. And then let me see here. I'm hopping around a little bit. Can you create schedules and then duplicate them for additional users, or do you have to set them up for each additional user? John?
Each
Can you
additional
answer?
user
Mhm.
using our administrative portal, it is each additional user. We do have I'd have to explore that a little further with Accentra's backend management tool, which we have the integration with. You can, if the job has Accentra on it, but our free admin tool, it's one by one. It can be a little laborsome as far as the data entry goes on the front end, but like I said, that's why I always recommend if it's multifamily to do this in the shop,
Yeah,
rather
and the
than
web
trying to
admin.
manage. Yeah, try to do it on the web admin tool and in the shop on your bench rather than out in the field.
Yeah. The next question, if you lose the digital passport, can you request another copy? If so, who do you contact? That's a great question. This happens all the time. It's just printed on a piece of paper with two QR codes. Some people don't think they need to keep it, so they'll, put it away. It is not a problem to get another one. You can reach out to our sales line or tech support line. It's just a reset, which will send the new QR code to your email. We also have a YouTube video that can walk you through how to do that yourself as well. Once you do that once, you'll always remember how to do it. It's a pretty easy process.
Yep. Yeah, and like I said, we do have the ability to back up we have the ability to repopulate the entries, which is very helpful when it comes to large multifamily projects. If it's a single family home or if it's a two unit residence, it's probably just as quick to go through the process of re-entering the user data and resetting the schedules. Um, but that's entirely your preference there.
Yeah. Can you watch the camera image live from the web admin? So currently web admin is only used for programming and setting up the devices. It might be added in the future, so check back on that. See here, make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay, a couple new questions.
Mm-hmm.
John, do you make a pre-wire box for your devices that you can install in a house so you don't have to chisel the brick out after the fact? So we don't make a pre-wire box. I believe but we do sell our back boxes separately. So for example, if you're ordering a D21, you can purchase that back box beforehand. That way you have it and you can go ahead and install that before you get the device.
Yeah, for sure. I have a lot of our property management clients do that. They pre-order their back box ahead of time. Sometimes it'll be 6 months ahead of time, and then they'll come back and they'll order just the intercom. Naturally, the only unit that DoorBird sells that ships with a back box is our D1100 series. That
Mhm.
ships as one complete kit.
Mhm.
But all the other units you would have to actually order a back box for
Yeah.
anyway.
And we do sell the D11 back boxes separately as well. If you
Mhm.
did want to put that on there, they're not crazy expensive, so you could get that and, keep the other back box off the unit that you do get, and continue to use it that way. If you have
Mhm.
to request a new passport, does it negate the old one or lock people out to set up with it?
Well, when you do a factory reset, the old passport is a thing of the past. It's totally new credentials. It is not going to affect any of the other users that are already entered into the intercom. It would just be either the user QR code that has new credentials or the administrator QR code that has new credentials. Hopefully
Mhm.
that answers your question. But every other user entry in there, um, yeah, I mean, typically when you're resetting a password, resetting a passport or a DoorBird, you're typically doing it to wipe it totally clean, like it's new out of the box and
Mhm.
starting over. Um, but yeah, typically that's the reason you would do that is if, somebody moves out of a house, a new person moves in, or a property and they have no idea. They just have this beautiful intercom sitting out there at their gate, but they can't use it, because the other people moved and they didn't do the turnover. Well, now, that's the case that you're doing a factory reset on that.
Yeah.
So
That leads into our next question. Actually, Brian asked, can you explain the procedure when you encounter a unit from a previous owner? You don't have to access the email. Yeah, so you would factory reset it. You would just
mhm,
need to make sure that you would be able to get the email to the email that was previously on that device. If you don't have access to that, there's a process through our technical support team where there's a 14-day waiting period, and then we can get it transferred over to you if
mhm,
there's no response. But if you have access, if you purchase the house from someone, they should be able to get that information over to you.
for sure. And that's what I told you guys. I think I was telling you at the very front end of the webinar today. As an integrator in the field, one of the very first things you want to do when you take the DoorBird out of the box is save this on a hard drive, save it save this digital passport on a thumb drive, a hard drive. You will get called back with that scenario. 100% of you selling DoorBird over any given amount of time, you're gonna run into that scenario. So do yourself a favor and save it on the front end.
Yeah. All right, I think that answers all of the questions. Does anyone have anything else they're curious about or want to ask before we close the chat?
No
Just to let
questions on the
everyone know too.
D31 or the new dome camera or any of this awesome stuff. I think Anna you were talking a little bit about it, weren't you, Anna?
Yeah, we were chatting a little bit about it. The camera is ready for order. The D31s will ship out within the next week or so, which is exciting. Anyone who has them on pre-order, those are obviously going to go out first. Once those come off pre-order, we do expect a lot of them to be ordered. So if you want to make sure you get one, get your order in. Also, those demos are 50% off if you just want to get one and mess around with it. After this webinar, we'll follow up with an email with a recording of the webinar and the walkthrough. If you have a specific job or any other questions, the RSMs and myself are always here. If you need help on a specific job or have any follow-up questions or just want to have a little bit more in-depth training on DoorBird in general, we're happy to do so for you. We have these webinars every month. They change every month. There's some exciting topics and fun topics. I believe next month is the configurator, right, John?
Yes,
Yeah,
configurator next month. That's going to be really awesome to
yeah,
sit in
that's
on,
really cool.
guys. We have some new toys in the configurator now to add in. I think I saw a question pop up. Somebody had asked about other features on the D31 and what
Yes.
all is new. Um, The most exciting part of that to me is the built-in QR coder for giving visitor passes and mobile credentialing. That is very sought after out there in the multifamily space. So
Mhm.
it has a new upgraded camera with a much higher grade processor in it. It's just awesome. I mean, it's almost like an intercom combined with like a digital signage board, because the customization that you can do with that touch screen, you can put, barbecue on Friday. Don't forget to get your HOA payments in by the 5th. You know,
Yeah.
it's got so many features built into that touch screen. And the price difference above the D21 to the D31, it's not going to blow anybody out of the water.
Yeah.
It's actually a very fair increase for the added features that it brings.
And there's still no monthly
Um,
fees with that as well. So once you
yep.
purchase the hardware, you're good to go. I think the
Mhm.
coolest feature on the D31 is now you can have individual company icons within each name. So on our D31, if all of y'all have seen that, you'll have your digital directory in there with the names or the units of each, tenant or company or anything like that. On the D31, you can pre-select an image. Say for, DoorBird, we would maybe select our bird icon and put that beside our name so people can kind of recognize it by their image rather than their name, as well as a customized image on the background and customized phrases, as John was saying. So it's super customizable. It looks very clean, super bright images, very crisp. It's a really nice device. All right.
Alrighty,
Well,
guys.
I
Well,
think
thank you
that
for your
is
time.
everything. Like I said, you'll get a follow-up email from us with our emails and phone numbers. Feel free to reach out if you have any other follow-up questions or just want to chat a little bit more in general. We're happy to always help you.
See you guys.
Bye, everyone.
Take care.